That's interesting. The screen is showing Prime Video instead of Zoom.
Everybody join. No idea.
Moment. Okay. There we go. Now we've got our tech figured out. Well, Steve, we can kind of go through and all quickly introduce ourselves and go from there. I can start. I'm Shane Haddon. I've been part of this committee since about 2011, 2012, something like that. And been a resident of the township here my whole life. And always been interested in keeping it a farming community that maintains this tranquil and rural way of life, as it says on the plaque behind you there. Seems great. You're wonderful.
I worked with land management all my professional career, and I have a strong interest in
Mike, so live on a farm, north town. I'm just a farmer that works the land, and also have an interest in trying to keep the farms going, keep farms preserved. I always hated to see, we need places to live, but I always hated to see good farmland being chopped up for houses. So that's kind of what I am.
Thanks, Mike. I'd like to echo everyone's statements. That's kind of what I'm here. I've been a township resident since 2009. Lived here with my wife and my family. Son's graduating high school this year. And I just like to kind of keep our community the same way it is. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, George. All right, so we'll move right into reorganization, election of chairman for 2025. Does anybody have a nomination?
nomination.
Second.
All right, well, I suppose I can do this for another year. So, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
And the nomination for secretary for 2025.
That's fine. That's fine.
Dive on in.
Sure thing.
All right, here a second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we are reorganized. Looking for another year as chairman, and Steve Jones will be joining us as secretary and the backup chairman as well. Okay, moving right along, approval of minutes. We all have a copy in our packet of the minutes from our Tuesday, October 15th meeting. And are there any corrections, updates, or concerns? Christie makes me put these down for us. Thank you, Christie, wherever you are. Anybody move to approve minutes? Is there a second?
I'll second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes from last time are approved. That brings us up to the open forum on action items. Now, the rules of conduct that are in this sheet say that the chairman gets to run the meeting basically as seen fit. I like to run meetings more like an old-fashioned community gathering rather than something very strict. So people have questions, people have comments, I like that dialogue, and I like making sure that people's concerns are addressed. So we can start off and go from there. It's kind of classroom rules as we move through a meeting. If anybody has a question or a comment or something like that, please put your hand up. Just remember that we only have 34 minutes remaining today to get through everything. So I appreciate that. So we'll kind of start off on this side of the room. Valerie?
I know as long as 2 years ago, a number of us have asked the question about whether or not, because I know you guys haven't had a lot of applications in the last few years, what the amount of money would be that would be needed in order to retire the land preservation program. And I don't believe I've heard an answer. I think you guys were waiting for financials, someone to work up those numbers. Have you gotten any information about that?
So that figure is part of the land preservation plan document that was last revised in 2018 or 19. That process is moving forward once again right now. We're redoing the plan here in 2025. We've got experts from the Brandywine Conservancy helping us with that process. They're going to be back here in the March meeting, move forward to the next step of that. The number that we came up with last time was about $12 million. That's where if we had that, we could kind of cover all foreseeable circumstances. That was 2018 dollars, that was 2018 land valuations. So, but we also had something in there about some triggers for, all right, at what point do we build up so much money that we decide to wind things down, reduce the tax. There's been a lot of discussion about that. And exactly what is possible and the mechanisms for doing it were never really determined. But when the referendum happened, when this tax was put into place, it was never something that had a shape that was going to be permanent. There was always some kind of an end to it. That end state was never really defined when it was created. So that is something we're definitely looking at this year.
Because I think it would be helpful, you know, to all of the remaining landowners out there who would be eligible to really put a finite timeline on this and say, listen, you know, you have X number of years. You know, either you get into the program or the program's going to go away.
Yep. Yeah, that's certainly a good point. And the best time to preserve your ground might have been 5 years ago. The second best time certainly right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Opportunities are perishable.
Yeah.
Would that be a question for John Gould, how he does it in other parts, you know, how do they do it, like, Lancaster County and then places up? You know, I don't know if they have a surplus in their system, or whatever they call that, Lancaster Farmland Trust, and the different. I don't know.
All right, thanks, Valerie. Anybody else in this room? Then moving over to the other side. Aaron?
I have a question. So the program targets farms that are 10 acres plus, right? How many 10-acre plus parcels are left that are not currently in that preservation? Because you look at, if you think 100%, there's, you can look at the overall acres of the township, but you're never preserving 100%. I mean, there's developments, there's a 300-acre lake, there's industrial projects that'll never go into preservation. So I'm just curious what actually, that realistically is preservable, what's left.
We have a map.
Yep. Yeah,
So what's the number though?
it was about 6,500 acres at this point, probably, left
That aren't preserved?
as preservation opportunities. That's acreage that could be preserved.
How many acres are there?
16,150 and a half.
And we preserved,
And we've preserved a bit over 5,000 acres. And that's counting Struble Lake and various easements and so forth. Like recreational easements and developments.
so 6,000 acres of 10 plus acre parcels.
Yep.
What do we pay per acre typically?
What we pay can vary significantly depending upon different funding sources that are available for really desirable lands, farms with really high quality soils. Through the getting funds from the state and the county, they'll cover about 55% of the cost historically. And the township has been paying about 1/4 of the cost for most of the land preserved in recent years.
So would what would you say, like, on average per acre the township pays?
That is, about 1,500 to 2,000. The strength of the program has been one thing that we've been able to leverage to bring in that additional funding. So the commitment the township has shown has kind of been an attractor for lots of private money out there that the Brandywine Conservancy's helped us bring in.
Even if this program ends, there's, farms can still be preserved, like there's townships that don't have like preservation funds, and still preserve their farms through state. And
Yep.
none of that.
Yeah,
It's not to
yeah,
say you could never preserve your farm, it's just saying township, you know, whatever, might not be still an option for farmers, even
Yep.
if our program
Yeah,
goes away.
the legal mechanisms are still there, the county program is still there. That's right.
Thanks.
But prior to this program being active, you can see on the wall there behind Scott Stilson, that there are, I think, three or four dark green spots that represent everything that was preserved in the county from like 1990, the onset of the county program through the beginning of this program. So in those 10 or so years, there were four properties preserved. After we had this program growing, up and running, that just kind of exploded, and we now got, there are over 5,000 acres a year. So, yeah, it's definitely something we're looking at this year is, all right, what is there left to do? What's the interest? What can we still do for this community? And how can we keep farming? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, so moving on to the financial review, we do have more information than we did last time, by far. So, item one, the status of the $800,000 interfund transfer. So the land preservation fund, it's a very long story, but $800,000 was loaned to the Parks and Recreation Fund to help finance and receive grant money to do some work on Humboldt Park, right up the street. That work has completed, and as of January 13, 2025, $890,000 was returned to the Land Preservation Fund, which is that $800,000 plus interest. In 2024, the fund balance was about $5.7 million at the beginning of 2024, and $7.25 million at the end of 2024. Total revenue collected was just over $1.2 million, and total paid out was about $35,000. One thing I don't have is the line items about what the expenditures are looking like for this year. There aren't any scheduled payments as of yet. We do have items in the pipeline that are supposed to be closing this year, and they'll be paid in lump sums when they're closing. So we're projecting a revenue of another about $1.2 million, and anticipated expenditures, it says $850,000. Which, unfortunately, as I said, I don't have any details on what those are. Anybody have anything else on that?
I can't read that detail on that.
No. Well, like, they didn't specifically ask for it.
Are they supposed to just provide that for a meeting? We should be getting it every month.
We should think so. I specifically asked for each number and got each number, so for next time, I'm gonna specifically ask for these numbers again, and then you can look at them. We will extract it.
I'm especially curious about an anticipated expenditure of $850,000.
Yeah, that's,
Can't imagine.
that's a
that's
large,
for.
it's a large number not to see any details on, which is disturbing. Well, stay tuned. And then I guess we'll move on to new business. Status of applications approved by the Board of Supervisors in 2024. We need probably Jeff Shellington or John Goodall for that information, and I don't see them as being here quite yet. Both usually here by now. Any other new business? All right, old business. We're continuing to work with Brandywine Conservancy on the 2024-2025 revision of the, I guess, 2025 revision of the land preservation plan for the township.
Will that be available for public comment?
It should be. I guess we were targeting the fall for the initial draft of that to be available, and have it completed by the end of the year. When it's done, it usually goes up on the website. The township's been kind of hesitant to publicly post drafts of anything lately, so we'll ask about that too.
I would think public would be allowed to have comments on the draft of ordinance.
I would hope so. But as the plan's taking shape, we're reviewing different sections at the Land Preservation Committee meetings. And everybody's, feel free to attend. I know you all do. Yeah. Show up, check it out, ask questions. Appreciate the feedback. Any other old business? Yeah, cross 800,000 for that at long last. Okay, moving right along. Open forum on any other matter? Anybody out there in the audience? Okay. And upcoming meetings. We've been meeting once a quarter for the past 2 years, I think. We're meeting in January, April, August, and then October. Prior to that, we met every odd month, which led to a November meeting that was often not well attended. Do we want to stick with the quarterly meeting? Do we want to look at any other structure? Go ahead with the meeting. All right. Yeah, and we'll stick with quarterly. Here's the next meeting will be April 15th.
Unless there's something generated by land preservation plan development that would require us to meet a little more often.
reports from the treasurer. Now, that's something that you used to get, correct? Under the prior manager?
Um,
Well, it's available on the website, correct? In the monthly package that goes out.
Not for land preservation.
Well, if not, we could have Warren have it. And then we would have access to it like the public does.
Yeah, Chip might have at some point. Chip was our finance guy, and relied on him to keep things together as much as possible.
Yeah, that would be, put in monthly packet, that would be great for everyone to see.
Yep. The next meeting will be April 14th, the August meeting. The calendar shows the 3rd. August 19th, looks like would be the August meeting. October 18th. And then in 2026, January 20th. So April, August, and October meetings would be Tuesday afternoon, or Tuesday evening, held here at 7 PM. January 20th would be 8 o'clock AM, right here. That's kind of keeping with what we had before. We need to vote on that. That brings us up to adjournment, unless there's anything else. Anybody move to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of switching to setting the tables, say aye. Okay, that wraps it up. Let's get ready for breakfast. So John, that's the right, some coffee. Everybody, please help yourself to coffee and donuts.